All right, time for another edition of Dino Tracks. I'm joined by Jabari Arthur, the receivers coach for the Dinos football team. Jabs, thanks for joining us here today.
Oh man, anytime, man. Thanks for having me.
We're coming up on the end of Black History Month here, as we've celebrated that through the month of February. And just to start, I guess I'd just be interested in sort of your overall thoughts on what you've been reflecting on over this month, and with all the things happening in the world over the last year, just kind of your overall feelings right now.
Well, kind of like we alluded to before, everything that's happening in the world, I'm happy now that there's a few more things that are being brought to light, a few more conversations that are starting to be had now. So I'm definitely appreciative of that. We appreciate, just Black History Month in general, just for discussions and talking about some of the things that has happened in the history that are having an opportunity to be celebrated. I think that's awesome. I love February as a month for sure.
We'll start kind of at the beginning for you. So you're originally from Montreal, and I know that's a big piece of your identity, and you're proud to come from there. And some of the history of Black athletes and coaches in sport that have come out of the Montreal area. Maybe just talk a little bit about that.
Well, definitely, I'd like to start off by saying that growing up in Montreal, I grew up in a very diverse community where a lot of people in Montreal are first generation Canadians. I, for one, am a first generation Canadian. My parents are from the Caribbean. And, when you go and you visit your friends, a lot of grandparents didn't have a very strong hold of the English language. So you have to learn how to say hi and bye and, how are you in a number of different languages. I, for one, know 9 different languages, at least how to say hi. And I think very, very early, it's you learn that it's diversity in culture is celebrated in Montreal. So I'm not surprised that the history of Montreal being a hub and the first of Blacks in sport is not surprising to me. Just some of the ones that we could talk about. Definitely, the most famous is Jackie Robinson. As you know, when he left Negro Leagues, the first professional stop he had was in Montreal with the Montreal Royals, which is a pretty cool piece of history. The next one we have to talk about, which is usually that is not mentioned a lot, but Ferguson Jenkins, which is a pretty cool historical figure, because not only for Black history but for Canadian history as well. He's the first Canadian to win the Cy Young Award. I mean, and as a Black man, it's pretty cool. He's the first and only Canadian that's in the Major League Hall of Fame.
Mm-hmm.
And once again, that happened in Montreal, which is cool. Everybody knows Willie O'Ree, who was the first Black man to play with the Montreal Canadiens, first Black guy in NHL. Mm-hmm. That's pretty cool. Once again, another piece of history of Montreal. Herb Trawick, first Black man to play in the CFL, once again with the Montreal Alouettes. Once again, which I think is pretty cool. And the one that is kind of close to me, a little bit closer to what I'm doing right now, is George Dixon. He was the first Black head coach at the university level for what was then known as Loyola College, which is now Concordia, University of Concordia. Once again, another first in sport in Montreal. So I'm very proud of the historical first and whatnot to come from Montreal.
Mm-hmm. You touched on coaching, and I think that's a good place to go next for us. That there is not a large number of Black coaches in youth sports and in general in sport across Canada. I know that's a passion of yours that's kind of recent, is moving into the coaching ranks after your pro career ended. But just what are your thoughts on opportunities for Black men and women to move into coaching positions across Canada?
Well, as you know, before I say anything from anything, I believe that there's not that many opportunities for a full-time coach at the youth sports level in general. I feel like in comparison to the United States, there's a lot less coaches, a lot less opportunities. But with that being said, I feel that when you kind of look in the history of of sport in general, especially at the youth sports level. There hasn't been that many Black coaches, head coaches, assistant coaches, athletic directors for a lot of the younger generation to look up to. I feel like, back in the 80s, there wasn't too many Black quarterbacks. That changed as we come closer to today's time. And I feel like it's going to be the exact same thing with coaches as well. I feel like even though there's not that many opportunities and jobs in general, I feel like there's more of an interest now from Black men and women. And I think the interest from those individuals will spark more opportunities, even though there's not that many. Yeah. I say that. But I feel like, more diversity in any sport at any level, coaches, administration level, even athletes is important for sure.
Was there a coach that you had at any point in your career that kind of triggered this idea for you that you wanted to move into coaching?
Well, truth be told, like I tell everybody, especially the kids that know me, I talk to, is when I was at the university level, I had a really, really fun, great experience, made lifelong friends. And I feel that the coaches that I had at that level, they helped me a lot, pointed me in the right direction and helped me with my career and as a man also. And I feel that because of those coaches, even the coaches that I have professionally, I want to be in an opportunity to kind of give it back to our athletes. And, now that I'm in a position to do that, I said I'm going to make the most of it, and I'm going to try as best as I can, or the best of my abilities, to recreate, a great atmosphere and an avenue for young men, and women, whoever I have an opportunity to affect, to enjoy themselves, especially at the college time.
Turning to the Dinos football program, obviously still the defending Vanier Cup champion. It's been the longest defense ever. But I remember in the middle of the 2019 season, we put together a video about football and as a sport having a place for everyone. And I know that that's something that you and your staff and the entire program are very proud of, is the opportunities and the diversity that is in that locker room. How important is that for not just the cohesion of a team, but actually, looking at society in general, the opportunity to bring people from so many different diverse backgrounds together?
Well, as a huge advocate of football, obviously I've been playing football my whole life. I've kind of learned that football is life. And the cool thing about football is you're exactly right. There is a place for everybody. It doesn't matter if you're tall, short, big, skinny, it doesn't matter. There's an opportunity for you to play football. And like I said beforehand, I feel that, the more diverse things are, it's like seasoning for food. The more seasonings you put in, it makes things more flavorful. And, when I look at our football team, I think it's pretty cool that when you talk about diversity, just across guys from across the country, we have guys representing on our staff and on our football roster. We represent 8 different provinces. There's over 7 countries that people have been born in that play on our football team. And man, I believe there's way more than 6 different languages that people speak on our football team. And I think it's pretty cool that you can get everybody from all walks of life and different ethnic backgrounds and all that to get focused on one goal. And obviously that was to win a championship, but I think it's cool that, sport unites people. And I definitely think that even though we have a lot of diversity in our team, it adds to our cohesion.
Over the course of your career, as you played at the sort of high school level and then at Akron and moving into your pro career, have you seen sort of a change in terms of the openness to have these kind of conversations, or is there still a lot of direction, or a lot of we still have a long way to go, I guess?
Well, I do feel we have came a long way. If you once again, you kind of look at the history, you look at like James McGill, the founder of McGill University. It's rumored that he was a slave owner. And McGill is one of the most prestigious universities worldwide. And if you take a look at it now, they actually have a Black head coach at that university. So I feel like we've came a long way, but there's still a lot more that we could be doing. Like I said, if you look at generations in the past, there wasn't a lot of opportunities for any people of color to participate in sports. And I feel like now there's a lot more opportunity, but I still feel that, you know, there's some other things that can be done. And like I said beforehand, I'm glad that now these are now topics of conversations, and I think we're definitely moving in the right direction.
Lots of conversations still to have. We will continue it. That's all the time we have today. Thanks, Jabari, for joining us.
Definitely my pleasure. Thanks for having me again.